we are live. Hello there, everyone. It's a delight to have you once again on a sunny California sunny afternoon, Sunday afternoon. And I know this is early in the morning very early in the morning in New Zealand and Australia. Always good to see you joining us. And today I have a very special guest from just kind of up the street here in California, if we take it that way, is my good friend Robin Stewart joining us well, do you want to go ahead? She is my partner in mission genealogy. We'll talk a little bit this week about what's ahead with our mission genealogy programs scheduled for Tuesday. So, and then I'll chime in a little bit more as we proceed to talk a little bit about some changes that I have in mind for how we handle office hours. So go ahead, Robin. What's going on with you? Hello, Mary. Welcome.
Hey, Mary. Hi, Barb. So, this division of the round table and the office hours, I think it's going to be a good thing. I think it's going to really allow us to focus on what we're doing at the time. So, our round table will be this week. Will be about um, just getting everybody caught up on your projects, and it also will give us a little bit of an opportunity to get to know each other if there's anybody new joining us, if there's anybody who has been out of the loop for a while, whatever it is. We just want to make sure everybody's getting connected. Hey, Paula.
Yeah, in fact, this for everybody that's new here is to realize that Robin and I started out with mission genealogy, doing one meeting and then sort of separating out into our kind of skill sets. And she has been handling a roundtable discussion of where we are with our genealogy as I went off into my nerdy world of, hey, did you know Substack could do this, that sort of thing. And now we've decided since Roots Tech to combine these with two different favored times for different parts of the planet. Hello, Jane. New Zealand and Australia are well represented today, um, as well as create a way that we can focus in different areas. So the roundtable sessions are on Tuesday with two different sessions in our time around 10 Pacific, which is 1 p.m. Eastern in the Americas, and then the early evening in the UK and Europe. But the afternoon session is designed for all of you in Asia Pac, except for you, Jennifer. I know you wake up early, early, early to join us for the morning program and sometimes for both. In fact, I noticed from the registrations that we have folks that are joining us for two sessions, which I think is going to be fun. And as we take that round. Now, we have a special plan for this month's roundtable discussions with the morning, right?
We do. So there's something that I cannot miss. I have to be at. Can't be at that morning session. So I asked Emma Cox if she would fill in for me, and she very graciously said yes. And I'm very excited because she's pretty much a facilitator on there, anyways. She's really great at jumping in when we need her. So I'm super grateful to her for doing that. And then I'll be there at the four or our time 4 o'clock session, the afternoon session.
Exactly. I'm always a little embarrassed to be around so many of you superb genealogists because I'm just fumbling my way through all of this. And I get to ask the stupid questions just so that, like I've been able to ask the stupid questions among engineers because I'm not an engineer, or among my older cousins because I wasn't there and I was little. So here I get to be among professional genealogists and extraordinarily talented, experienced people and just ask the stupid questions. Because, there may never be a stupid question, but sometimes it's embarrassing to ask. And you see, look at that patient face. What a teacher, huh? Taking me through this. Now, Emma Cox has stepped in with Projectkin to take a fun series for us with a regular session that she has for Projectkin called Emma Explores, and that one's been a fun way where she does her own as a professional genealogist. She steps back and does her own genealogy and shares with us discoveries, usually in a theme pattern, which is especially fun. That's right, Mary. Sometimes I have to keep reminding myself when it's like, I should know this. I can't figure it out. I'm being stupid. But it's right up there with, where are my glasses? Where are my glasses? Or worse, right? Where are my glasses? Yeah, we've all been there. We are making a change in the department of no stupid questions. We're making a change, as I said, about how we handle office hours, because originally I wanted it to be a way that, frankly, I could separate what I do in explaining how Substack things work from what I'm doing over in Project Kin. Project Kin has a very specialized focus, in my view, and I want to be able to keep that focus tight. Um, but there's still a lot of very basic stuff about how to navigate around. Yeah, right. Where are my glasses? Asks Mary. Um, uh, there are a lot of very basic questions that I know I struggled with at first, and I didn't know anybody on Substack. And it was people like you, Robin, and I think you, Lisa, some of you, I'm not even sure who it was who was so kind to me as I was that new kid finding my way around. And I want to be able to pass that back and share that ethos so that we all feel comfortable doing that. This is, we get to make Substack the world we wish we had. I don't feel that way about some of the other, let's just say, social media that's out there today. And I want to make this platform the platform community that we wanted to see in the first place. So in our office hours plan this time, this starting this month, I made a big change in how, yeah, I think all those hearts are for ethos. um, I made a big change in how we do it. And quite frankly, I don't know if it's going to work or not. It's going to be a little bit of an experiment. But I have been very happy with the quality of video that comes out of Substack Live. And from investigations that I've done, I can see the company is very, very focused on this high quality. And their mission for doing it is very different from platforms like Zoom, which is incredible that you can have a conversation between somebody over video with one person on a dial up and another person on fiber. That's a huge challenge. And from a technology perspective, they do it very well. That's not what Substack's trying to do. And they get to have this very high quality as a result. So, starting on Thursday, unless y'all scream at me, starting on Thursday at 10 a.m., I'm going to have the first of our Substack, Project Kin mission. No, start again. Mission Genealogy office hours over Substack Live. And I'm going to be experimenting completely with their new really desktop setup. We can only do Substack Live from the phone, from an iOS device so far. And maybe they've added Android. I'm honestly not sure about that. But from an app, from the mobile device, I wanted to be able to show screen sharing. I can't do that from the phone. But there is a setup really designed for streamers called that leverages a video protocol called RTMP. That protocol is not new, but the way they are doing it and hooking that into Substack is new. Using that, I can project a computer screen out to this Substack live session. In my current El Cheapo setup, I cannot do that with a guest. So here's my crazy idea. Robin said it's okay, so let's see if it works. um, I am going to on Tuesday, and if it fails, well, we'll do something else. But the idea is I've got a whole laundry list of topics, and some of you have been responding to my survey and suggesting these. I'm going to piece from those. I will put out a post on Thursday morning describing exactly what it is and how to register. you don't really need to register. It'll be Substack Live. So it'll turn up just the way this one did. I will, just like Substack Live, have a scheduled time, a scheduled Substack Live. I think I can do that from the RTMP. I really haven't done this yet. Um, and we will support the chat at the same time. Now, did you see how I was doing that? Here's a secret. I figured out that at the beginning of a session, since I couldn't follow all of your chats here on my phone at the same time as, well, I would jiggle the phone. So I now have this over here on my computer to my left. So on my computer screen, I can see welcome, Madeline, Diane, Mary Marshall. You see, I can see all your names. Um, I can have the chat going on over there as I do the Substack Live of the screen sharing, hopefully kind of ish in here. It's actually running on an iPad. And we'll sort of see how that goes. My crazy idea is that I know that it can be awkward to ask questions that you know are all being recorded. And you're asking that, is that a stupid question? But what's the difference between a note and chat, for example? And to make it easier to go ahead and ask those questions, we can do it here on chat and I don't have to say who asked anything. Second is that if in the middle of at the end of the session, I will have something prepared to talk about. Mostly it'll be demos, not slides. And then at the end of it, we can like devolve into a Zoom meeting. I will have a Zoom link ready to go, but I'm not going to share that early. You don't need to register for it. We can just, the people who are participating can jump over there. And let's see how that works. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. And I'm going to do this once a month, and it will be recorded, so you can see it at any other time. And to solve the problem of what time of the month what time of day do I do it in, I'm going to put out a poll. There's something called SavvyCal, which I can do for free. With SavvyCal, you may know Doodle is another way to do a meeting poll. I kind of like SavvyCal, the way it hooks into my own calendar. And I can have one event free. So I will do that and we'll have votes for the best time. I'll give you two alternatives. Guess which times they are, Pacific and Atlantic. And we'll see what time works for people and take it from there. I hope that works. What do you think?
I, if anybody can do it, Barb, it's you. I
You see, she's trained well.
you,
I'm sorry.
I don't think anybody's done that on Substack, have they? Where they do what you're talking about, but projecting your screen.
Well, I've been told it should work. So, you see, one of the things here is that most of the crazy ideas I try, I have ways to test them. You know, if I want to test something out on an account, I create fake accounts. I do this all the time. Um, if when it comes to a live session, I can't really fake it. So I need people to help me experiment. So that's why I can do this for the office hours where we're talking about using Substack. Fortunately, from what I understand of setting this up, it's exactly the same as what you're doing right now if you're watching this live. So, and I think all it's going to be is you hit a join button. And if I do it right, it'll just work. And if I don't do it right, well, it'll just completely fail. And the month is still early. If I can promise you this, if it completely fails, I'll fess up to it and schedule a Zoom session and I'll walk back quietly with the tail between my legs. I do try very hard, uh, and I preach this, so I hope I try too, is though technology brings us lots of nifty new toys, it's very important not to just go do something because the technology makes it possible. I confess that on this one, I'm probably right on the edge of doing it because it's possible, but I would argue that I've been trying to find a better way to do this thing anyway. And StreamYard, for example, as a friend of the pod, as the cool kids say, Dear Myrtle uses for her Dear Myrtle Mondays with Myrt, for example, and her book club. She's using a very fancy system called StreamYard, which also supports an integration right in with RTMP, and it allows her to. It's designed for using, for example, with YouTube Live, and she uses that all the time with YouTube Live. This same setup that I'm going to do also would work and is designed for YouTube Live. I can't do it concurrently, and the system I'm using is actually free. So it's a lot cheaper than a lot of money every month. So on the other hand, it also there are limitations. I don't have a crowd of people. I can't have a panelists that allow me to broadcast little cute things across the top. So that won't happen either. Um,
So I
y-
would it be better for folks who are going to be watching it on a desktop, or does that matter?
I don't think it matters a bit. I tend to think that the experience of watching it on a computer is nicer because you can type in chats, and for the kind of content sharing, the this is a thing, that might be easier to be able to play along and try things and so on directly on a computer, or even with your phone on one side and the computer on the other. It shouldn't matter a bit. Um, but we'll find out. I mean, yeah,
If they're able to be on their phone to watch, then go on their computer at the same time, that's a win.
exactly, exactly. So enough with the tech. I want to dial back to the larger question of what's happening here in terms of Substack and genealogy as a whole. Remember where we were 9 months ago, something like that? August. Actually, we started talking about it in July, and what launched in August with Mission Genealogy. And welcome, Stacy, Madeline. The We did this originally because we both shared this problem of, hey, wait a minute, there's all of these, we're trying to build a community here of people around genealogy. And what is it exactly that we need? And we realized we each brought different things to the table and had the same goal. So voila, we created a joint Substack, essentially, a collaboration to take it there. But tell me a little bit about what you've seen and then what's happening with your own genealogy matters.
Well, I actually, since like Roots Tech, everything's just really kind of taken off on Substack as far as genealogy is concerned. And I just, it's pretty exciting. As far as Genealogy Matters goes, I'm still every week putting out the Gen Stack, and it continues to grow because we continue to get new folks, posting on Substack. But I've also kind of branched out a little bit into the outer world. I look for podcasts and video and also blogs on the outside of Substack, and that's kind of growing as well. So
Well, you're very modest. When you started doing Gen Stack, it was just genius, because it recognized that a community needs that cohesion, that way to bring everybody together to it's like the town newspaper, the school newspaper. I love the paper model for it, in the sense of saying, hey, what happened, what did I miss? And you're right there to answer the question, what did I miss? And I think it's significant that post Roots Tech 2024 5 25, you have said, hey, we've come of age. We're here. And this isn't just a little backwater. Let's use Substack to talk about genealogy everywhere. Genealogy in media, in channels, in all of the communication channels that it's happening. I know I use it at the end. When I'm focused on something, I have to just focus on that thing, but then I can just open up. This is what I do. I open up the Gen Stack. You notice I don't even read it typically right on Saturday, but by Sunday, it's like the thing. You open the one tab, and then I option on a Mac. It's Command click to open it into new tabs, and my screen locked. um, into new tabs so that I can see what's not miss it, and then go back through the ones I've seen and then open up some more to make sure that I've not missed anything, because it's a continuing story, and we have so many serials now too. Then I get to the bottom of it and I'm like, what? All of these, the YouTube channels that are picking that up. That's really the cameo for me. This one is Zarabeth. Dax is a little more shy. She wanders through from time to time.
There
Oh,
about
she's scratching. That's why I have a mascot for the icon for the registration. I hope I'm not putting off dog people. I just don't happen to have a dog. Hey, welcome, Tanea. So, as I look over the list of folks that are just joining, now that I figured out again, I'm looking at you here on the phone, but I have over here my browser and I can see the long list of people as you comment. Um, I met you tonight. I think, hi, I met you on Facebook. And so many of you are coming now into Substack and innovating on wonderful new ways to connect worlds. It doesn't have to be an either or. Those of you with big WordPress followings or big followings in Facebook groups, these kinds of things, that's great. uh Substack is different in many ways, and we'll continue to talk about that, I'm sure, but having ways to bring people, back and forth, and, tide pools, the freshness of new water coming in and new ideas exchanged, new bits of inspiration and where we take things. I think that's going to be fun.
yes.
So we've talked a little bit about mission genealogy, and a little bit about where you're going with the weekly Gen Stacks. If y'all haven't signed up for Genealogy Matters and get on that Gen Stack list, you're missing out. You'll want to be tracking where she's going, and you'll find it immediately inspiring. Oh, for me over here on Projectkin, most of you are signing up. You've already joined as Projectkin, but you know what? That's one of the cool things about this. You don't even have to be a subscriber to watch these lives. You can just be a follower and just see it as it scrolls by if you already have a Substack account and you're following something. Those subtle differences between follow and subscribers are, Substack is always muddling those, in my opinion. But anyway, that's how you're getting here, and you're very welcome. We're delighted to see you. In Project Kin, I've been blathering on about my Lafayette project for a very long time, but it to me is foundational in the ways in which it I hope, illustrates ways to create timelines that can be powerful in different ways to tell stories. That's all it's about. It was a big lift to get there, and thank you all for your warm and kind thoughts as I got to celebrate on the weekend about a first step. I have another program, not this Thursday, but a week from Thursday. Where I'll do a project recipe. The intent there is to show you exactly how I did it. And by the way, I am welcoming tips and ideas for things that you wish there were a way to do in a timeline. And I'll give you an example. At the same time, like within 10 minutes of each other, I had two people, my accountant and why there she is now, Lori Olson White, happened to hit me at exactly this within the same 5-10 minutes with a, hey, I'm about to take a big trip. This would be really cool as a way to capture memoir moments, capture moments from the trip in installments, essentially a journal. So I have experimented with a form that you just fill in at the time to create that timeline. We'll see if it works. Lori, thinking of you. Um, but I am crazy enough to try these kinds of ideas up, and we'll sort of see if that works. I'm looking forward to feedback if anybody else is interested in using it for essentially a travel journal. Um, I will be happy to share it with you and do what I did with Lori And it didn't take me long at all. Now that I've done it, I can do it again. And let's see if that kind of works as a use case. And then I'll work that into my project recipe when I share that next week. Those are the kinds of crazy things we do here, um, as ways to tell stories and build on it. And if I may, I'm going to add another little plug for you, Robin, because it was actually as a subscriber to Genealogy Matters when I hardly knew you, that I discovered really how to finally use this timeline tool, which I had been lingering over for probably 2 years, saying, I don't get it. I don't understand how it works. I'm so confused. And it was one of your posts that was the breakthrough for me to really understand it. I'm afraid, and again, you're such a teacher. I'm afraid that I've discovered that I guess it's an experiential learner. I have to get my hands into something and try it. Reading all this blah 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 documentation, I will go back to the documentation after I've stubbed my toe to see, oh, that's what they mean when they say put your shoes on. Now I get it. um, but anyway, that's what really set me off and down this path. And now I'm just delighted. I guess I'm a never really retired product manager, always trying to find different ways to use something and that addresses the needs that really matters and where we take it. So before we wrap up, does anybody have questions, thoughts, ideas that they want to share or begging to learn? I will tell you while you think about your questions that you can sign up now. Register. You will need to register to join us for the Mission Genealogy events this week on Tuesday. We're doing again 2 sessions. One in the Atlantic time zone, as I like to call it, a time that is more convenient for our East Coast of the Americas and Europe. 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern, and then we do an afternoon session for us here in the Pacific, the West Coast of the Americas, and out into the Pacific Rim, which is at 4 p.m. Pacific time, or what is that, 9, 8, 9, 10 a.m. In Australia, New Zealand, depending on where you are. Clocks should now be synchronized. I use projectkin.org/events or missiongenealogy.org/events to share those timelines. And Mary writes, I finished part 1 of family history. How do I add some of my Substack to it for more interest? Ooh. So you're wanting to add to a published family history piece from your Substack or the other way around? I think that's one of the kinds of questions we go back and forth in. What do you think? Any thoughts on what she might intend there, Robin?
Mary, can you clarify for us?
Not published yet.
And just adding to it, or do you want to do a second post?
One of the things that is clear for many writers here on Substack is that it's a having a really not just a blog, but a channel to your readers allows you to create a back and forth. One is they can go read the long form posts or a book and comment on it and talk to you about it, but also go back and send them back into the long form. And then, even go external to things like Blue Sky. I wrote history and it's boring to some. I thought adding some Substack posts to it might draw in family. Hmm.
Um,
Yeah. And we see that in serialized posts, don't we? Where putting the little bits lets you bring in more bits. Fundamentally, having things that are online means that you can bring in video and media and, oh, Mary, your voice. Mary, speaking of cameos, um, you've done many public talks and you have had access to some extraordinary historically significant people both in in your own family history as well as neighborhoods and conversations that you've had. So I think I know as a reader of yours, to me, those are the ones that send chills down my spine. So yeah, yeah, there you go. And always creating ways to keep that conversation going.
Uh,
Yeah. So speaking of having keeping conversations going, let's do that, but not here. Let's do that in Tuesday sessions. Again, we have an Atlantic time and a Pacific time on the same day. It's Robin and Barb, morning and night. And we're looking forward to having a really in-depth, the round tables are exactly that time to have those thoughtful conversations as a larger group. And then as works for in any given meeting, take them into rooms where we have a chance to get to know each other more personally and talk more deeply about where it's headed. Then on Thursday, uh, details to be posted Tuesday morning, Thursday Pacific time, of course. I will be hosting a new and experimental office hours. We'll see how that works, and I will look forward to your feedback. In the meantime, there is a survey out there. I guess I'm not sure. They're all included in the post. That's too much noise. But based on feedback from the survey I ran last week, I will be trying to work from your feedback and do what is most helpful to the most people. Because what we really want is more people telling their stories. I think we're in unison on that key point, right?
Definitely.
Okay. So with that, thank you all so much for joining us. As very special thank you to my teacher and guide here in Robin Stewart. And thank all of you for all those hearts and letters. Let's see where this takes us and continue the conversations. And thank you all for your wonderful, warm, and generous comments in Substack, GenStack, Genealogy Matters. Ah, I feel the love. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone, and thank you, Barbara. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Bye.